Let me tell you something real, not a story I read, not a scene from a movie, but a piece of my own life, the kind that changes you forever. One morning, I stood in the yard, barefoot, watching everything I owned, everything that once made me who I am, lying in the dirt. My daughter-in-law, Melissa, stood there, arms crossed her, perfume mixed with the smell of dust. She said coldly, "It's all junk. It's all trash." And my son, my own blood, just stood behind her, silent like a stranger. I wanted to ask him where the boy went, the boy who once held my hand crossing the street. But I said nothing because I learned long ago you don't beg to be respected, you just stop offering your love where it isn't valued. And if you've ever been through something like that, stay till the end, because I promise you what looks like a loss at first can become your greatest victory. And before we start, subscribe to my channel for stories that remind you no storm lasts forever. The morning sun felt cruel that day. It touched every broken piece of my life, my clothes scattered across the grass, my wedding dress torn by the wind, the frame of my husband's photo cracked, his smile hiding behind shattered glass. She stood there drinking coffee, watching me pick my life from the ground. "This old junk has to go," she said. "We want to redecorate, make this house look modern." My heart sank. I looked at the curtains I had sewn with my own hands, at the old piano my husband used to play. She had called them trash, but to me they were memories that breathed. I picked up one small box from the pile. Inside was a yellow letter folded carefully, my husband's handwriting still gentle. He had written, "No matter what happens, this home will always be yours." I closed my eyes for a second, and right there I decided she could throw my things, but not my worth. She could dirty my clothes, but not my peace. A week later, the sky was cloudy and quiet. I sat outside with my tea again, but this time I felt lighter. A white car pulled up near the gate. A man stepped out in a navy suit carrying a folder. He smiled politely. "Good morning, Mammy. Here for the house listing. We have interested buyers coming this evening." Melissa came running out in her robe. "What house?" she snapped. He said, "This property, it's been listed for sale by the owner." Her eyebrows twisted. "The owner," she repeated, and that's when I stood up. I walked slowly to the gate, my steps calmed, my hands steady. I pulled out the original deed and said quietly, "Yes, the owner." Her face went pale. My son rushed over. "Mom, what are you doing?" I looked straight at him. I say to him, "Doing what you couldn't, protecting my peace." Melissa tried to speak, but words wouldn't come out. I looked at her and said, "You called my memories trash, so I sold your comfort. You threw away my heart, so I threw away your safety." Their mouths fell open. They packed their things in silence, and for the first time in years, the house was quiet in a way that felt holy. Months later, I stood under a new sign. "Second Chances, my boutique, my new beginning." Every corner was built from the money of that old house. Every shelf carried handmade crafts. Each piece had a tag that said, "Reborn from what was once broken." People loved the story. They said the shop felt warm, peaceful, different. And sometimes when I arranged flowers near the window, I'd see Melissa walking by on her way to work, her face dull, her clothes wrinkled, her eyes heavy, and I'd smile, not with pride, but peace, because life had already done what I never had to. It taught her that arrogance fades, but kindness always rebuilds. One day she stopped and looked through the window. Our eyes met. She tried to smile, but couldn't, and I turned away softly, because closure doesn't need conversation. Sometimes silence is enough. People often ask me, "Don't you regret selling that house?" And I tell them no, because that house wasn't a home anymore. It had become a museum of my pain. I needed to start breathing again. My peace now lives in every sunrise I watch, in every cup of tea I pour without fear, in every laugh that echoes through my little boutique. I used to think revenge was loud, but I learned it's quiet. It's when you stop waiting for apologies and start Celebrating your freedom, they lost the home, but I found myself. So if you're listening to this right now and someone ever called, "You're worth trash," remember this. They're only showing you what to recycle, turn that pain into purpose, build something beautiful from what they broke, because success is the apology they'll never say. Tell me in the comments, have you ever walked away instead of fighting back? What did it teach you? Tap that subscribe button right now for more stories like mine where silence becomes strength and every ending becomes the start of a brand new life.